Okay, here we are about to cut some meat up. There's a little hair right there. So we still pull them out whenever we see them. So all we're using, this is why I say you can do everything at home, just a boning knife, what I call a steak knife, a steel, just a little cutting board from the kitchen, and a saw if you want to cut some ribs or if you want to make a bone-in roast. So you don't need that. This is some string to put around the roast. That's a stone over here just to sharpen the knife with, and some wrapping paper and some different size wrapping paper if you want. Anyways, most important thing, let's do a little cutting. So this is that shoulder. Wild game is really sticky too, actually. On the bottom it really sticks to the tables and that, so makes it a little heavier. So this all looks good and clean to work with now. So there's a joint right here. So this is the shoulder, this is the blade bone that you've seen before, right? So there's a joint right there where you can cut through if you want. This is what it'll look like from the other side. Now there's also a bone that goes, if you see any hair, just pick them off too as you're going. And I notice here just a little bit of stuff I missed cleaning. So we'll take that off right now so we don't have it in our hamburger. This is going to be, I'll make this one into, I'll just bone it out for hamburger mostly. And you can make stew out of it if you want. I'll make a few different things so you know where they come from. Okay, so you can do one of two things on here. There's a bone here. There's a ridge. You can see it right there. That's just a little blade bone. It's raised up, so I'm just going to cut it to expose it so you can see it. You can see it right there. You can see it between my fingers. So you can take this off, the meat off here, just by running your knife with the bone. Again, like I always say, watch your fingers. Another little hair right there, so take them off. When you see them, take them off. So you can see I have an apron on now, which makes things a little nicer to work with. You can wipe your hands, keeps the meat off your clothes. So I'll go nice and slow to show you how to do it. Try and run your knife with the bone. So run it along the edge of the bone. Try not to cut the table either. It's an arborite table, which is not really good on the knife. So now there's another bone right there. You can see it if you feel it. It's right at the end of this bone actually. So we'll take this other side off. You can take this and tie it into a roast if you want. You can make nice stew meat out of it. We'll make a little bit of stew meat too. And then this again, this is the shoulder, the blade bone. So you see, run your knife along the bones. Don't try and take it off in 10 pieces. That way if you want to make a roast out of it, you can still make a roast. That's really tender. My thumb just poked right through there. Just pull it. Keep your wrist out of the way. Pull it. Run your knife along the bone. Let it run right along the bone. Less meat on the bone that you're throwing out. In my case, to a dog or some pet, likely. Actually, this is all going out to where I got the moose. For the guys' cats and so on, dogs. So it's not going to waste, nothing. So then I just expose that bone. That's one way of doing it. The other way, you can start from the other side and take this whole bone off the joint first. I'll show you that on the next one. A couple little different ways of doing it. So just try and run your knife again with the bones. I'm going to flip it over now. Now I'm going to expose this bone from the other side. So right there, just run your knife along the bone. Another little hair has to be gone. Trim that off a little bit. Looks like a little more than a little hair. So don't be afraid to trim this stuff off. It's better to take it off than to leave it on and not be able to eat the meat. Because there's something wrong. This is trimmings. So this will be made into hamburger. You can make it into sausages if you want. Okay, so now I'm going to take the camera and just move it over to this side, just in case my arm was blocking you there. So we'll take a look from this side. Again, run your knife along the bone. See how I got my knife flat? Like that. Not like this. Never like that. Never like this. Never towards you. Pull it up. That way if the knife happens to come out, it's going to go out there. Somewhere where it's not going to cut. You don't want it coming out there, so keep your wrist up. Wrists are super important. Fingers are not so bad. You can't really bleed to death. But a wrist or your belly, your leg, all bad places to cut. Now, it's natural to want to go like this. If you do put your knife like that, run it like that so that the point is not pointing towards you. Right? In other words, you don't go like this. Don't go that way. If you do, make sure your hand is like this. Your knife is always, the point of your knife is never drawn towards your belly. What is this? Learning how to cut meat or safety? Both. Without safety, you might not be cutting too long. Okay, there's one bone. So that's that bone that I showed. There's that little ridge of it, what I showed you when it was sitting like that. That's the ridge, that's that. Fairly clean. Little bit of meat for the cats, not so clean there. That's okay. So there you go. That's the blade bone out. Now we'll turn it around a little bit. This again is with that meat side pointing down. We'll just I'll loosen this off because there's a little tendon here I'm going to take out. Just go behind it actually. Go, you probably can't see that. So I'll just go around that bone. Again, just feel the bone. Make sure your knife is not going to your fingers. If you save all your bones after you do it once and look at them, you might be able to get a better idea of what things look like. So you know how to cut around the bone. This is a leg bone going up here. I'll expose it this way so you can see it. So what I'm doing again is just running my knife till I find that bone. See the bone? Now I'm just going to follow it. Goes up here. This is the shank, which is right above the knee. Then I'm going to expose this shank meat. Try and turn it that way so you can see better. There, up the edge. Follow the bone. Follow the bone. I'm going to lift it up to cut it, safer. So follow that bone. Now on here, I'm going to do this different. I'm going to take this part off, easier for you. And I noticed a little bit of bad stuff hanging there, so I'm just going to trim it off. A little bit of dog cat meat. So now we'll come back to this way. Again, hand clear when you're cutting toward it. Expose that bone again. A couple hairs in there again. They come out. It's hard to get them all. So there again, take that bone off, follow that bone. The goal is to get that bone out of there. So I've gone underneath now, and I'm just following it underneath. And I'm going to go over to the other side a little bit, follow it underneath. Then in here you can still see it's attached a little bit, so I'll take that off there. Now we'll pull up on that. Clean the meat off again to the bone. And if you want, we can take this bone right off right here. If you move it back and forth, you can see the joint, you see? See how the joint is? So you just open that up. Again, don't poke that knife towards you. Cut around the bone, feeling it. These are quite dangerous when you're jointing things. So just pull on it nice and easy. See the pressure I had? Not too much. Again, not too bad of a bone. A little bit of meat there. We'll just do like that. Take it off. Now I'm going to take this part right off. This is the shank. Shank meat is good for pretty much hamburger. So we'll loosen this whole piece off. So we'll bone this part out first. Run again along the bone. Find the bone, run along it. Nice and easy. Shanks are a little bit dangerous, so be careful. Turn it up, cut it there. Put the pressure on it, so I'm pulling up with my knife as I'm doing it. See, exposing that? I'm going to bring this right over. This will make it a little easier. Then I'll take this. This was the part I cut off before. It sat like that. Again, follow that bone. See how the knife is not poking towards me? If it comes, it's not going to hurt me. I'm just going down inside that little V there. This piece is going to come right off. Just like that. And then I'm just picking that little hunk out of there. And that's all. There's the shank meat cleaned up.